Nikki Catsouras, most commonly known as Nikki Catsouras, was born on March 4th, 1988 in Orange County, California. She was an 18-year-old college freshman that lived with her parents, Leslie and Crystal Catsouras, and her three sisters named Danielle, Kira, and Christiana. Her mother, Leslie Catsouras, was a homemaker, and her father, Christos, was a salesman. Nikki studied photography at her college and was described by most as being a shy, pretty, and creative person that enjoyed working with children in special education. The Catsouras family lived in Ladera Ranch, and although they seemed perfect, the family had much more problems than they let on. Nikki's early life was very difficult because at the age of 8, doctors discovered a tumor in her brain. Nikki had to go through intensive radiation treatments to treat the tumor, but the damage to her brain was already done. Doctors informed the Catsouras family that the side effects of this were going to inevitably resurface in the future, possibly impacting her judgment, control, and impulse. Nikki was also an avid user of drugs, and in the summer of 2005, she began using cocaine. Her constant use of cocaine will make Nikki end up in the hospital in a state of psychosis induced by the drug. Her parents were infuriated when they found out, but they deduced that her lapse in judgment was caused by the radiation therapy. The events did not stop Nikki from using cocaine.
On the Halloween afternoon of 2006, while Nikki was having lunch with her parents, an argument broke out. The argument involved Nikki and her father, and it was due to Nikki not being able to drive her car. Nikki had broken a family rule after she was caught sneaking a cigarette into the home. Nikki's family was very big on no smoking, so there would be consequences for Nikki's actions. As a result, her father would punish her by taking her car keys away. Shortly after lunch, Nikki's father would get ready and leave for work. Before leaving, however, Nikki and her father would exchange parting wishes and say goodbye to each other. Nikki would even wink and flip a peace sign at him while also telling him that she loved him. So, everyone seemed to be in good spirits after the argument, and everything appeared to be back to normal in the family.
10 minutes after her father Christos left, Nikki took the keys to her father's black Porsche 911 Carrera, a car that she had never driven before and was strictly forbidden from her parents to drive, and sped out of the driveway. Upon seeing her daughter driving the $90,000 sports car, Leslie Catsouras called her husband. Christos Catsouras immediately turned his car around and began frantically dialing 911, but he was put on hold. Nikki was traveling at 100 miles per hour down State Route 241 at around 1:30 p.m. when she suddenly clipped a Honda Civic that she attempted to pass on the right. Immediately after, she lost control of the vehicle and ended up crossing lanes over the median until the Porsche came to a stop when it slammed into a concrete toll booth. Nikki was killed instantaneously. Once the California Highway Patrol arrived at the scene, they were horrified with what they saw at the site of the wreckage. Still on the phone with emergency services, Crystal saw 2 police cars passing by in the highway. The dispatcher would then inform him that his daughter had been in an accident. Nikki's body and face were left unrecognizable. Her head was partially decapitated, cut in 2, cleaved, and smashed in. The car had completely crumbled in on itself, and there was bloodstains left all over the toll booth. She was pronounced dead at 1:45 p.m. on October 31st, 2006, and the officers at the scene took pictures of her lifeless body moments after her death. The accident was so gruesome in nature that the coroner did not allow Nikki's parents to identify her body. They were also instructed to never see the photos that were taken at the scene. The images of the aftermath of the crash are available online, but we will warn you to not see them. Viewer discretion is advised because the photos are extremely graphic.
Initial toxicology reports showed that Nikki had traces of cocaine in her system, which she had consumed the night before the accident. However, there was no trace of alcohol in her system. Although the coroner had determined Nikki's parents wouldn't be able to identify their daughter due to the gruesome nature of the accident, they would soon see images of their dead daughter appear all over the internet. Unfortunately, Two California Highway Patrol officers present at the crash site, Aaron Reich and Thomas O'Donnell, would leak images of Nikki's crash scene. They violated CHP policy and forwarded the images to colleagues, who would later email them to other colleagues outside of the department, creating a chain reaction and resulting in the leaks making their way to the internet. This would result in Nikki Catsouras being known online as the Porsche Girl. Due to all the attention the images had garnered online, they went viral, which is how Nikki's parents discovered the gruesome images. Nikki's leaked pictures were being redistributed and mocked across the internet, as if witnessing their daughter's disfigured, lifeless body wasn't enough pain to endure. Internet trolls would soon begin to make the family's life a living hell. Nikki's parents would begin to receive anonymous texts and emails containing images of Nikki's accident, which were aimed at taunting them and making fun of Nikki's demise. This will lead to the Catsouras family withdrawing from the internet to avoid all of the anonymous trolls. Leslie Catsouras, Nikki's mom, wrote a poignant memoir titled Forever Exposed, The Nikki Catsouras Story, to commemorate her daughter's life. In her book, Leslie explained the horrific aftermath of her daughter's accident. But most importantly, she revealed how the internet, cyberbullying, and trolling had affected her family. She further explained her reality in which her family has to cope with the widespread public interest of her daughter's death and regulations of freedom of speech in America. This would also affect Nikki's sisters. One of them, Danielle, had to be taken out of school due to constant threats of being shown photos of Nikki's accident by having them placed in her school locker by bullies. Nikki's parents were intent on having all of their daughter's images removed from the web. However, it became pretty apparent early on that it would be an impossible task due to the viralness of the images. Angered by the redistribution of the daughter's images online, Nikki's parents would sue the California Highway Patrol and the two officers who were involved in leaking the images in the first place. Unable to excuse the officers' actions, on January 30th, 2012, the CHP would reach a settlement with the Catsouras family. This settlement would grant the Catsouras family $2.37 million in damages, although it was acknowledged by the CHP that no amount of money would compensate for the amount of pain the Catsouras family had suffered. As per the officers, O'Donnell was suspended 25 days without pay, and Reich would quit soon after.
Ultimately, this case is an example of how evil the internet can be at times. People had no compassion for the Catsouras family when they were grieving the loss of their daughter and sister. Instead of keeping the pictures for themselves, strangers and people Nikki was once close to spread the images of her death like wildfire. Nikki was a young adult that had her whole life ahead of her. Let's remember Nikki not for what happened to her, but for who she was and who she could have been. Rest easy, Nikki. You are missed greatly by your family and friends.